welcome to Movie Review Mom. Today, the movie I'm reviewing is Dumbo. But wait, this movie review trailer is a little bit different because I'm actually a guest on another movie reviewer's channel. His name is Tim Wilde, and he is with Saints Unscripted. So I'm gonna do a quick little edit, and then you'll get to see my review with him as a non-spoiler. And then we also do a spoiler review for Dumbo. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it.
Welcome to Saints on Cinema. I am Tim Wilde, and with me today is the movie review mom. I always get the name all messed up.
Yay!
Welcome, Trina Boyce. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're excited. Today we're excusing Josh. He still isn't able to jump into these reviews yet, but we're doing a two witnesses discussion of Dumbo. And everyone's
Yay!
so I went and saw this. It's a kind of a must-see for Disney fans, and it's kind of, you want to know what's going on for movie lovers to see what it was about. And I definitely have feelings about it, and I know Trina has feelings about it as well. I haven't read her reviews. Don't know any of her specific feedback, but I got a hunch that she wasn't overly pleased. So we're going to do two videos because I have a lot to say. We want to dive into some spoilers, but we're going to do that as a separate video. So this is going to be our non-spoiler discussion of Dumbo. And if you saw the original Dumbo, you got about the first 40 minutes of this movie, and then there's a whole other movie that happens after that. And
Yeah.
So anyway, so just first thoughts. So what was your general impression of a spoiler-free synopsis of how you liked Dumbo? Trina, hit me.
Okay. Well, first of all, everybody needs to know that it was directed by Tim Burton. So that should tell you a lot just in and of itself. Tim Burton kind of has a dark steampunk kind of vibe about him and his movies. And that's kind of the feel of this Dumbo. If you saw the original, it's very Disney, very sweet, very colorful, animated, basic. And this one, it just takes it to a different, darker, like I said, kind of a steampunk version. And it's sort of the original and a sequel sort of all in one. Would you say that's a pretty good summary?
Yeah, it is. And that was my biggest disappointment. I'll just say it. I was really frustrated because just like all of Tim Burton's reimaginings, he has completely missed the heart of the original. And every aspect of what he tried to recreate in his reimagining just dropped the ball for me. And we'll talk about that a little more in detail, but yeah. And I think that was a big thing. I was like, everyone was really curious what Tim Burton was going to do with this story. And then when we had the cast list in the first trailer, like, oh my gosh, these are some heavy hitters. We were so excited. Yeah. And there was a reunion of Tim Burton and Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton ever since Batman Returns. Like, oh, this will be awesome. We already love their chemistry.
Yeah.
All flat for me. But I don't know. when I look at the movies and I take that is the overall assessment. Yeah, and I love Tim Burton's work, but I like his original work much more than any of his recreations. Like I said, it's not that I have these expectations. I don't feel like he really captures what's beautiful at the heart of these other stories.
Yeah, and he's a great director, but he doesn't seem like a Disney director. At least when you think of Dumbo, you think it should be sweet and innocent. And Dumbo in this movie and in the original is just adorable and sweet. And thankfully, Dumbo is great in this movie. The CGI is great.
Yeah.
Blue eyes are just piercing and so great. But the rest of it, just almost seems like a mismatch. There's some kind of bizarre choices, I thought. Yeah.
So I'm gonna break down. I have five categories we kind of talk about: the story and the plot, and then the characters, cinematography, and then the music and the sound and special effects. So just the story and plot. We know the story. Well, when we go into spoilers, I think we'll talk about why. I'll talk about why I didn't like some of the choices with the story, how we missed the mark there. But what did you think of the second half, without revealing too much about how he told a whole new story, where even the villain, the main villain, wasn't introduced until the story of Dumbo was complete. And then Dumbo wasn't even a main character in the second half of the movie Dumbo. And that was my biggest frustration.
Yeah.
It was just me for the rest of it. And I was like, what is going on? So what did you think of that story? Because that story was all about these new characters that I didn't care about.
Right. Well, as you mentioned, some of these new characters are just sort of all of a sudden appear and you don't care about them because you don't have any time to learn about them or know about their backstory. There's no necessarily an arc, a character arc that grabs you other than Dumbo, really. Even the children in this movie are kind of side characters that you don't spend a lot of time with and really get to fall in love with.
Right.
And then there are a couple of little cameos that you're like, wait, what? What's that guy doing? Like Alan Arkin. I love Alan Arkin, but he was in it for like 30 seconds maybe. And his character does something dramatic and then you never see him again. I don't know. It seems like there was a little bit of a liberal slant, whereas what began as a sweet story about Dumbo just wanting to reunite with his mom, all of a sudden, towards the end, we're getting kind of a anti-business and big business and all animals should never be in captivity, free everybody, and save the environment at the same time.
A Free Willy story. That's how I felt. I was like, why did we turn into Free Willy? That's not Dumbo. Yeah. At the end of Dumbo, the original, without talking about what happens in this movie, I don't know if I just spoiled something. Not really. I mean, you kind of get that from the trailers. But in the original Dumbo, it was all about him and his mom. That was the story, and Dumbo, you know, having embraced what made him different and an outcast, using that and finding those hidden abilities within him to overcome those trials that eventually won him a good place in the circus and that reunion with his mother. And that's what it was all about. And the friendship with Timothy the Mouse. And yeah, you take out Timothy the Mouse, you lost the heart of that chemistry, and you replace it with these two kids that were flat. Like you said, they were just any kids. The girl was okay, but she had the most of the dialogue, but a lot of the stuff between them and Dumbo was off camera. She'll just come up and start talking to Colin Farrell, her dad, and be like, oh, in this scene that we didn't see, we talked about this and Dumbo wants to do this. So like, how is she having a conversation that's both ways with Dumbo? You know, I was like, are you establishing that Dumbo is that coherent? You know what I mean? It's like, it just didn't connect and you didn't have that chemistry. Although she did okay, and she reminds me of Angelina Jolie, and I kept thinking that's Minnie Jolie as I was watching it. She looks just like
her name is Nico Parker, and the minute I saw her on the trailer, I thought she's got to be related to Tandy Newton. Well, come to find out, she's her daughter because she looks just like her mom. And what's kind of cool is that her mom was actually filming the Star Wars Solo movie at a film studio nearby, and this is Nico Parker's debut. I don't know if it was the writing or if it was really just her, but actually she and her mother have a little bit of a coldness to them, and I think that's sort of the flatness that you're referring to.
Yeah.
So it was okay. Actually, you mentioned something that I thought was really crucial, and that is in the original, Dumbo is an outcast, right? And the movie really centers around that theme. And yet in this one, in this one, there are two missed opportunities. One is when Dumbo is born, Danny DeVito's character sees him and rejects him. And I thought, that's kind of odd since circus is all about oddities and he's kind of this shrewd businessman. It just seemed out of character that he would have rejected him rather than say, hey, there's a money-making opportunity, and really ran with that. And then the other missed opportunity was when the children's father, Colin Farrell, comes back from war and he's missing an arm. And
there's a freak show right there.
Well, no, that's not the missed opportunity.
I'm exploiting it, I know.
But that he had a disability or something that made him different, as did Dumbo. And I felt like Tim Burton could have really progressed further with that comparison, or I don't know, maybe uniting them. They had something special in common, and the fact that he just missed his arm was not really integral to the story. Just a opportunity, I thought.
Yeah, and it kind of, there was a little bit of that interaction with him and Danny DeVito, who's in charge of the circus, where he's like, Danny DeVito's trying to assign him a place just kind of out of loyalty, but they even said it was your wife, who is deceased now. Your wife is the one that was with the horses and was running everything. That was your part of the circus, was your wife, really. And now you're kind of baggage. And he just had this loyalty that he like had an obligation to find something for him to do, and he couldn't find anything for him to do except for take care of the elephants, which was, but yeah, I agree with you. It would have been a good thing that would have bonded Dumbo and whatever his name was, Colin Farrell's character, that you, as you had seen him overcome something with his disability, watching Dumbo also overcoming that would have given a purpose to having this character in the movie. Instead, without talking about it, he does something at the end of the movie with one arm that would have been hard, which was great. I thought it was, I don't know, it was, there were several people that could have gone and done that, and he just did it. I was like, well, okay, whatever. But I agree, they definitely didn't flesh that out if that was, and that was a missed opportunity. I agree with you. So that kind of led us in this story. I mean, that's the thing. You're right. There's the first half of the movie, which I think dropped the ball on a lot of the good stuff about Dumbo. And then the second half of the movie was a whole new story, which this kind of a slight against corporations. I don't know if this was some kind of a statement against Disney specifically, which is funny because they hired him to do this movie. Couldn't really figure that out. But
well, and actually, that's a good point because it centers around this theme park, which was Disney-esque. They even had that carousel of the future. You know, do you remember going to Disneyland and seeing all the futuristic things with the animatronics? And they feature that, or they don't feature it, but they show that little moment in the movie. And I'm like, are they bashing themselves? It just seemed like that was odd.
Yeah. I wish they just taken all that stuff out. Just spent more time fleshing out Dumbo and these characters a little bit, that I cared about the characters, and I more appreciated Dumbo instead of just felt so rushed. And that's on the story. And all the other characters, everyone else in the circus, they show them for a second in the beginning. They have one or two lines throughout the entire movie, but they're just kind of a group that's like in another room the whole time. And then they all have a part in the end sequences that are not really interesting. You know what I mean? It didn't feel like they were really utilizing, like they were doing anything unique with their own abilities or experience or anything. Right. So I don't know. All of the characters, even Danny DeVito, just felt like current Danny DeVito, like in everything he does now. He just kind of seems
yeah. He's lovable and he's good and he was great in the movie, but yeah.
But he was, even though the last half, he was just shoved off to the side for us to focus on Michael Keaton. And Michael Keaton playing a villain, he's so much better than what what I got out of this. And I think that was kind of what the character was. He was just a very flat, just a businessman. But I didn't get it. Like, why were we focusing this much time on him? I don't know. I wasn't engaged with any character. Dumbo was great, but Dumbo was not given attention in the right way to really help you fall in love with Dumbo like you did in the original. But, right. I don't know. And special effects, talking about Dumbo, he looked amazing. Like he said, the big blue eyes and everything, it was great. I gave it really good props for that. There's some action sequences at the end. The flying with Dumbo looked fantastic, and you see a teeny bit of it in the trailer, but once the second half happens and you start seeing him flying around in daylight or in better lit rooms and tents and stuff, it didn't look as good. I don't know. I think it was a lot better where Tim Burton thrives in darkness. Dumbo looked good in darkness, maybe because it was easier, but I don't know. What did you think of all the rest of the
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. In fact, when the movie first started, the CGI was a little iffy for me, and I was like, oh no. If it's bad in the beginning, I was really worried. And then Dumbo comes to the screen, and thankfully he was great. But then again, as you mentioned, towards the end, it kind of altered a little bit again. So it just wasn't consistent. But at least Dumbo looked great, and that was, I guess, what was most important.
He's the most important, yeah. I just wish they let you care about him more.
Yeah.
So the sound design, I think the score was good. I really enjoyed the music throughout the movie. I mean, it didn't stand out, but a score's not supposed to necessarily do that. It's not like I could hum back the theme or anything like that, but it felt really good. It went with the tone of previous scene. I didn't have a single part that felt out of it. I mean, it was a fun little adventure in a circus, and the music felt like you were in a circus, or you were, when they were, having, important melancholy conversations. Like, you felt the tone of the whole thing. I liked the score a lot.
I felt like it was very sweeping, and it seemed to match the time period, and I really liked that. When I watch a movie like this, especially from Disney, I look for some big key musical moment, or something that when that song plays, you know what the movie is. And a lot of it was sort of nondescript, but when the movie ended, the one song that stuck in my mind was a sweet song called Baby Mine, sung by Sharon Rooney.
Oh.
And she didn't get to sing it for very long either, but it's very sweet. And I think that will be the song for this movie, at least the one that's recognizable. She plays the ukulele, and of course she didn't play the ukulele in real life, so they had to teach her really quickly before she did the scene. And so she learned how to play it in a week, and then just sang this little tune, and it was a very sweet, tender moment.
Right. Well, I gotta say that's one of the scenes that I didn't go for. The music was fine, I like that, but I'm sorry. In the original, there's all this build-up for half a movie. Even after Dumbo is successful with the clowns, everyone loves Dumbo. He's a star, like Timothy says, but he's not happy until Timothy says, "Oh, we're gonna go see your mom." And suddenly he's all excited, and then they go, and their trunks are trying to reach, so he can't get to his mom, and there's barely hugging each other, and you're just like almost in tears. I've been in tears watching it before. And then she goes in with her trunk and everything, but there's all this focus on Dumbo and his mother, Jumbo.
Yeah. This
one, because of the song, they pan around. You're looking at the circus performers, and then you're looking at tents, and you're looking at the other animals and stuff, and the focus should be here on this tender moment between Dumbo and Jumbo, and it was just rushed. And there was not even a build-up like there was in the original, we're gonna go see your mom. It was just oh, here they are, and okay, now let's play the song and look at the scenery. I was like, no, focus back on Dumbo. This is his movie, and this is his biggest moment. But anyway, the song was good, though, and I don't fault the song for that.
Well, yeah, I was just thinking musically, since you were asking about the music and the soundtrack and all of that.
The other song that was great was the Casey Jr. in the beginning credits. They hit that one beautifully, and like you said, the ones that matched, that was great.
That's
I love the opening credits. I think it was so good.
It got you excited. It got you to remember the original. And it's been years since I've seen the original. Sounds like you've seen it more recently.
No, I haven't seen it since years and years.
Really?
I just remember
have such a good memory. But there were a few things that I caught, the kind of a nod to the past. For example, when Mrs. Jumbo she doesn't give birth in the original movie, a stork comes and brings Dumbo. And in this movie, she's actually laying on the ground, and she's going to give birth. You don't see anything, thankfully. But did you catch there were some storks, or a stork sitting there? And I thought, okay, well, I don't mind that a new adaptation or reincarnation of the movie changes a little bit. But I always appreciate a respectful nod to the past.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really sweet.
And there's several little moments like that, but and I agree. I like that. I like that there was a nod. If you're a little kid, watch this. I don't know if you would think that the stork brought Dumbo.
Yeah, no, it didn't even allude to that in this movie.
Right, but just that it was there. It's oh, that's a cute little stroke with the brush.
Yeah.
But
Timothy, as you mentioned, he's in a movie for 5 seconds. I mean, he's in a cage and he jumps out. Boom, that's it. And everybody was like, what?
Yeah. I don't know if how they want to do the talking animals, because that's the weird aspect of Dumbo is you have the animals talking to each other and then the humans talking to each other, and the animals understand the humans, but not vice versa. This one I didn't need the animals to talk to each other, but then don't put Timothy in there just to tease us, and then Timothy's gone, and then replace with 2 kids that were aliens. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Well, you're right. And the difference between the original was it was from the animal's perspective, whereas this one, because it's a live version, obviously, is from the human's perspective. But one of the things that made the original so magical was the talking animals.
Yeah. Which is a hit or miss in a live action movie. I think it was successful in Jungle Book. I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know if that was the right decision for this one, but I don't know. Yeah, last category is the cinematography. But I mean, other than the opening credits, like I said, I love the little, saw the characters, you saw the train doing travel by map, in town to town, and the dissolving scenes of what was happening in the circle. It got you into it, like you said. You started the vibe. You felt like you were going on this fun adventure with the circus. But then it cuts right to showing the story with Dumbo and setting up the circus in some town. It just like dropped, and it was just like no energy. It was kind of boring. You didn't spend a second like focusing on who these performers were. Just kind of moved right past them. And so I was like, okay, well, I don't care about these characters now because you didn't stop and show me anything other than the collage of scenes in the beginning in the credits. But like, where's the spirit of the movie? And then Dad comes home off the train, and the kids run, and it's like this. It's not just because he's missing,
downer.
like, yeah, and then they hug, and it's like, there's no heart here. Like, even the kids don't care about their dad. You know, it was just anyway. But the cinematography, I gotta say, I love the palette that was used. Tim Burton came in here, you have this beautiful circus-based movie, an animated movie, and then he comes in with these beautiful scenes with a lot of clouds, with a lot of oranges and purples and pinks, and it
felt circusy.
Beautiful. Yeah, it did.
And it matched. I thought the time period they handled that really well.
Yeah, costumes I didn't really like, but whatever. I think it was just sort of bland costumes, but that's Tim Burton. Yeah. But yeah, it was the beautiful, the camera angles, the way they did a lot of the flying stuff. Some of it was really weird later, but really weird. Like kind of first person kind of weird stuff, but yeah, a lot of the outdoor stuff and some of the way they did a lot of long shots, not long shots, but whatever it's called, long takes of going through the circus was kind of cool. But I didn't have a lot of problem with the cinematography. Tim Burton knows how to do the cinematography, and his people just did a great job. I didn't care about where the cameras were, especially the last half. He had all his visuals and great stuff with the models. Tim Burton loves models and everything with his whatever, Wonderland or whatever it was called. Yeah. It was cool. It was shot cool. I just didn't care about any of it because you didn't hook me into your characters, and you haven't, brought out the heart of this story at all. So anyway, but I like the cinematography. I thought it was really good, really effective, especially the colors.
I agree. I was curious to see how they were going to spin the whole circus thing, because recently we saw The Greatest Showman, and which I loved that. I loved the music. I loved just everything about that movie. I was actually obsessed about it for a while. And one big difference between that circus menagerie and this circus, as we keep talking about, is in that movie they gave you a few minutes to fall in love with some of these side characters. Just the group, the circus group of people and their talents. And as you said, it did feel rush. They exist, but you don't know anything about them. And that would have been fun to at least fall in love with one or two characters.
And just cutting out the last half, all that other stuff with that whole second story, just fleshed out the first little bit. You could have introduced Michael Keaton's character a little bit earlier if you wanted to, him reading reports and stuff about, because Dumbo wasn't a success in one event in the original. He felt he was doing good with the clowns, and then he flew, Right. But he, stretch that out a little bit, get rid of all that nonsense, and with Eva Green, whatever her name is, the traffic star, Eva Green just in there and hooked her like we're supposed to buy this relationship that's coming with her and Colin Farrell. I was like, no, just you tried too hard. You tried too hard. Get rid of half of that stuff. All the business stuff.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, good. Eva Green, I kind of put her and Tim Burton kind of in the same steampunk category. She just doesn't seem Disney to me. And in fact, when she first walks in and you see her, I thought, oh, she's a villain because she's kind of creepy looking. Maybe because of former roles where she's been a creepy character. Whereas at the end, we're supposed to believe, that she's pure and sweet, and she still didn't look or feel that way to me. So I thought that was kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it was all forced. It felt forced.
One of the biggest problems too was, circus was so exciting back then. and there was joy and excitement and new things to be seen. And I didn't really get that sense of joy from the circus.
This was a downer circus. It was like a ghetto circus.
Well, like even the two children, they get to live in the circus. The daughter was totally uninterested. She wanted to do science. She just sort of moped around, it seemed like, the whole time. The little boy kind of seemed like he didn't have an opinion either way. And everybody it was like a drudgery kind of a thing, which was odd. I keep using that word, I guess. I guess that's an appropriate word for a circus, but I didn't see the warmth and the charm of the original movie and the joy of the original movie.
You got to see, in the original, you got to see them setting up, and they had that workman's, I don't remember how it goes, but they had them working and pitching the tents, and the elephants were part of setting up the tents and everything. They made it feel like it was a job, it was a work. It's not all fun and games, but once the audience was there, it came to life, and you were supposed to enjoy the excitement of the circus. This one, it just all felt monotonous, and they were bored and they were miserable, and it was like this, they hated their lives and their jobs. I don't think, again, if they had fleshed out some of the performers a little bit, it would have brought the circus to life. I agree with that.
Yeah, or even just a scene where they're all hanging out in the evening, or even in the daytime. And, like I said, there's the one scene where, she's playing the ukulele and singing her few circus, but you don't see them all united as a family. And yet we're told in the movie that there's loyalty there, but we didn't really get to see the loyalty as much, especially as you mentioned, Danny DeVito's character was ready to just toss Colin Farrell out the door, so he sort of acted like he was more obliged than that there was true warmth and love and a sense of family.
Yeah, I agree. All right, Sharon. Well, we always give a final judgment. Okay, so we have the celestial glory of a movie, which means you got to see it in the theater. Terrestrial means just wait till it comes out, Redbox or whatever, but you should see it. And then telestial means if you come across it on a streaming service or Netflix or something, go ahead and check it out. Where would do you got to see this in the theater, or definitely see it once it comes out, waste your money, or don't even bother until you come upon it?
Definitely not celestial. You don't have to race out to the theater for this one. You don't have to see it on the big screen, which is a shame because it should be a big tent, big feel to it, and it didn't really feel that way. If you wait and do it streaming on your laptop or another device, my word of caution is that there are a lot of evening scenes, and it's going to be really dark to see on streaming. I often get advanced copies, and I actually did watch this movie on my laptop, and it was very dark, and I had to get really close. And so when it shows up on Netflix on a bigger TV, it'll look better. I don't know. I guess I'm a little biased towards the original for your young kids to see. However, one thing we didn't talk about is there was some problematic information, representation in the original about African Americans and the Crows, and Tim Burton just avoided all of that together. I think little kids, it just goes over their heads. So, do you buy it on DVD? Do you wait till it shows up? I don't know. So it's hovering somewhere between terrestrial and telestial. How's that for non-committal? If you're a Disney fan and you got to collect and you want these movies, go ahead and buy it on DVD. If you're just a casual movie watcher, wait till you see it. I think I'm leaning more telestial. I'm disappointed enough in it. I kind of don't want to reward Disney or Tim Burton for what we got, honestly. There you go. Whereas Mary Poppins. That's a very different story. Yes, yes, buy that one. Buy that one for sure. Sorry, out of the theaters, but I don't know. That's what I agree. I think we've concluded it's a telestial film. It's not horrible. It's fun. When I was there, everyone in the theater was laughing and enjoying it. It's not like you're gonna hate it unless you're me just looking for the heart of the original. Not because I need a recreation, but I just want them to capture that and expand on it. If you're gonna take a story that's 50 minutes or whatever, and double it, I want to have a little more of that impact, not less. So Tim kind of lost me in the story, and I really don't think he knows
how to capture and recreate the heart of these stories. But oh well. Anyway, that's our spoilers-free review. We're gonna do another video. I'm gonna dive in a little bit about some of the spoilers as much as I can remember. I had a big list of things notes I took, and I can't find my list. But before we do that, just want to thank Trina for joining me on this review.
Thanks for having me.
Discussion, absolutely. Subscribe, yep. And so you can find her. What's your channel called? Just
So you can find me at Movie Review Mom on YouTube, and then I also write out my movie reviews at moviereviewmom.com.
Really good.
Yeah, subscribe.
Subscribe for sure. We'll post these on both channels, but if you enjoyed this, if you saw the movie, then go ahead and join us for our spoilers discussion. If you haven't seen it and don't care about seeing it, then go ahead and enjoy our spoilers discussion to see why we're so hurt. But anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks again, Trina. We'll see you next time on Saints on Cinema.
Thanks for inviting me. Bye.
Bye.